like 400 people. So I know 400 of us are like kind of a today assembled here to discuss turtles and tortoises. So thank you so much for everyone's time and effort, especially Raju. And as Saikia sir already mentioned, that means, IQAC Center's team already did good job putting everything together. About a month back, we had, or rather like on 17th of June, we had a crocodile session, and that means there was lots of technical disturbance. So it's very smooth. So I must thank all of you, especially the coordinator and assistant coordinator. So yeah, I mean, like, turtles are very important, as Sir said, and Raju has been mentioning since beginning. And, and there are lots of effort has been actually, going into the conserve them. So I have analyzed the list this morning, which was shared by Raju. So like 400 of you registered, and about 315 are like BSc and MSc students. And rest are like NGO workers and people from different places, and faculty. So I'm very encouraged to see this kind of interest from academic sector in turtle conservation. So before I just like go through my slides, so I must tell you that you guys are really very blessed where you are sitting. That is like second most important and very important turtle diverse region in the entire world. So this is like, I must congratulate the college and principal sir again to organize such a very relevant talk, since means, anything you talk. So so it's like Indo-Burma hotspot for turtles are very, very important. I have been working in Northeastern India for last 10 years with like different partners, including Rajiv. So everything is not possible in 1 hour or like 1.5 hours. So what I will do, I will try and tone down all the technical stuff. So if there's something for everyone who is attending this talk, so it's not like very high end stuff. So people are not like going to learn. And the second thing is that I expect you to ask questions. So Raji is going to take all the questions. And it's like, take it very, very informal workshop. It's not like, I'm not like here, I'm not like kind of going to do a whole full classroom teaching for you. So I'd be really very happy. And I know the organizers will also be very, very happy if you can take something from here and then probably try and replicate for the conservation of turtles and tortoises. So I have like in first half, I have like a couple of slides I put together with the help of my team. So which I will show you some photos. So you also kind of visualize that what kind of conservation work we do. And the second part is basically, I will definitely focus on question and answer session, which is, I know that there's lots of things which I might not be able to cover in the beginning. So you can always ask. So please feel free, and I will try and see. I know Raju is very efficient, so we will try and see how many questions we can answer in this session. If not, so I have also added my email ID, and you can always talk to Raju more and Professor Saikia more to get in touch with me, and then probably we can discuss over email or phone or something. Okay. So let me share my screen with you. Before I just like go through my slides, so I must tell you that you guys are really very blessed where you are sitting. That is like second most important and very important turtle diverse region in the entire world. So this is like, I must congratulate the college and principal sir again to organize such a very relevant talk, since means, anything you talk. So so it's like Indo-Burma hotspot for turtles are very, very important. I have been working in Northeastern India for last 10 years with like different partners, including Rajiv. So everything is not possible in 1 hour or like 1.5 hours. So what I will do, I will try and tone down all the technical stuff. So if there's something for everyone who is attending this talk. So it's not like very high end stuff. So people are not like going to learn. And the second thing is that I expect you to ask questions. So Rajiv is going to take all the questions. And it's like, take it very, very informal workshop. It's not like, you know, I'm not like here, I'm not a, like kind of a going to do a whole full classroom teaching for you. So I would be really very happy. And I know the organizers will also be very, very happy if you can take something from here and then probably try and replicate for the conservation of turtles and talk like this. So I have like in first half, I have like a couple of slides I put together with the help of my team. So which I will show you some photos. So you also kind of visualize that what kind of conservation work we do. And the second part is basically, I will definitely focus on question and answer session, which is, I know that there's lots of things which I might not be able to cover in the beginning. So you can always ask. So please feel free. And I will try and see. I know Raju is very efficient. So we'll try and see how many questions we can answer in this session. If not, so I have also added my email ID, and you can always talk to Raju more and Professor Saikia more to get in touch with me, and then probably we can discuss over email or phone or something. Okay. So let me share my screen with you. Raju, can you see me? Okay, perfect. So this is a very iconic turtle of India. So we call it red-crowned roof turtle. So yes, yeah. So this is very
yes, you're live here. Carry on.
Okay. So this is I mean, very iconic turtle species. I have done my PhD on this species in Chambal River. And most of you heard about Chambal. Chambal is kind of a little infamous place since there were lots of bandits and, you know, certain other things were there associated with Chambal. And you would be very surprised to know that this species is only surviving in Chambal. And the photo you can see here on my desktop right now, it's a male, or rather stunning male Batagur Kachua red-crowned roof turtle, which is in the breeding color. So you can see that means, so there is a kind of a like very nice, colorful and very bright eyes. So that's a very handsome turtle. So it's kind of a, this is like kind of a symbol. I'll try and connect people and especially small kids with turtle conservation. And this is, I mean, turtles, where you are sitting and or rather most of you are sitting in Northeastern India, you have all big five. If you just drive to Kaziranga, probably two hours or 3 hours from your place. So it's just, I mean, a country like India. So on one hand, we are very blessed that we have this kind of turtle diversity with us, which you are going to see in a minute. But the second, I mean, like other side of it, when you have like, you know, you can also see that wild Assam elephant. So the today's turtle works out, but there is an elephant or probably a tusker just like coming running toward you. So, you know, so I mean, turtles are a little hard to compete with tigers and elephants and, you know, rhinos and things like that. But there are so many colorful and very important turtle species India has, which you are going to through. I'm going to flip the slides and you are going to see them through. So, yeah. So turtles are like, you know, what are turtles? So most of you are like from BSc, so you might know that means they are reptiles. They lay eggs, they have scales and other features as well. And they are cold-blooded. So that's why they are reptiles. And they have a special bony cell developed from their ribs and which is acting as a shield. So that is kind of their main defense mechanism, which turtles have, and that make them different from other reptiles. Other reptile does not have that kind of a shell which protects them from predator and other things. So globally, 553 extant species. You can see this is an old data, but currently there are 360 extant species. When I say extant, that means living species, and 34 of which are currently known from India. So 34 means you have the marine turtles as well. So right now I'm not talking about freshwater tortoises and marine, but everything together, which looks like a turtle. So we have 34 species. When you come to the freshwater turtles, probably in the next slides, I will show you. But the third point is very important, that this is, turtles are the most endangered vertebrates. So if you try and see that 360 species, you have 187 species. I just read this, last week from a paper that means 187 exact species are threatened. That means either they are critically endangered or they are endangered. So, situation is really very bad, and you can see in other slides that why that is happening, why turtles are facing that kind of a threat. Okay, so when you compare it with like mammals, when you compare it with the birds, when you compare it with the insects, so this is most endangered vertebrates. So a little bit about where turtle lives in the globe. So when you see the entire world map, this I have stolen from Dr. Andrew Rodin's book this morning. So when you see the entire globe, you see that the thing is USA and Mexico, and you have over 52 species. Under bracket, what you can see is a taxa. So taxa means that will include subspecies as well. So, and then Mexico, that is like main important area where you have the turtle diversity. But after that means, you will see directly India. So currently we are third in the entire world in terms of the turtle richness and turtle diversity. And I'm very proud, and I'm sure all of you are very, very proud on that. And then means other countries are as well. But like when you see this total geographical area in terms of can you just put your mic off? Yes, thanks. So when you see this entire global situation here, so you'll see that means Asia is really, really rich in terms of the turtle diversity as well as abundance. So especially the Indo-Myanmar hotspot, which definitely consists your northeastern India. And you can just see through the color. So don't forget that means India is the third most turtle diverse country of the world. So a little bit for the beginners and the students, since I don't want to jump in like big conservation situation and the solutions and things. But so to start with, since most of you are zoology student, so turtles definitely belong to testudines, all turtles and tortoises. And then we can further divide them in tortoises and the freshwater turtles and sea turtles. So tortoises are essentially those live on the land. Freshwater turtles, mostly as name suggests, freshwater, so they live in the freshwater. And the sea turtle, as name suggests, they are in the sea turtle. When you further divide freshwater turtles, so they are hard shells and soft shell turtles. So there are two kinds of turtles. I will show you more photos in a bit. Sorry. So turtles and terrapins versus tortoises. So a kind of an introduction for that. So when I say turtles, so generally, turtles encompass everything. Tortoises, sea turtles, turtles. But when it comes to freshwater turtles or terrapins, so generally means under that, so they are flattened shell. Why flattened shell? So they can swim smoothly. They have web feet. Why web feet? So they can just again, swim smoothly. So they need those feet to swim in the water, and they could be aquatic, they could be semi-aquatic. Some are the forest turtles as well, which often people confuse with the tortoises. And fourth point is mostly omnivore, so they eat everything. Lots of the time people ask questions that what turtle do eat. So as a conservation center, we always get lots of questions that what turtle eat and how long turtle live and things like that. So those are very basic questions, and we'll try and tell people that mostly turtles eat everything. So then means, and then means, when you start further dividing them in the species, in the groups, so they have the different feeding behavior and the habitat. In contrary, tortoises they have the domed safe cell. So when I say the domed safe cell, so they are not like flat. So they are like kind of a, you know, bun-like cell. And then you have the stubby feet, the elephant-like feet. You can see there's a like little photo I put like in the end of everything. So, so the last one is a tortoise foot, but the middle one is essentially a turtle. And the first one is a sea turtle, which is called flipper. So since we are not talking about sea turtles today, so we are talking mainly about freshwater turtles and tortoises. Together, they are called non-marine chelonians. So tortoises are mostly herbivores. Herbivores means they eat all the greens and, you know, especially cacti and anything like which grows on forest floor and things like that. So here are a couple of photos when you just to give you a perspective. So South Asian box turtle, this is again south, of course, in Assam and other parts of the northeastern India, as well as like mentioned other parts of the South Asia as well. Then you have keeled box turtle, and then the left one, the Assam leaf turtle, and the fourth one is Assam roof turtle. So there is a reason why I am like showing you all those four photos. See, these all of them are hard shell turtles. So when I say hard shell, that means their entire body is covered with a shell which is very hard. So when you just like try and touch that, so that's kind of a bony carapace. So upper shell of the turtle is called carapace. So these four species live in a different ecosystem, as you can see from the shell. I mean, like, you know, so Kora always like means they can be in small puddles, they can live in like small streams, sometime in the forest. Keeled box turtle mohata is more a forest dwelling species, live close to the rocks and as well as like small puddles. Leaf turtle is like, as name suggests, again much like you'll find them wandering and crossing the road and everything. The last one, bottom below, is like some roof turtle, and they definitely like fast flowing river like Brahmaputra. And when you go Tifolu and other smaller channels of Brahmaputra, you will see thousands of them are basking. But that does not mean they are persisting in thousand numbers. They mean that means they get like higher level of protection there. That's why they are thriving there. So that's a very small population which is there, as well as another population which is in Bangladesh as well as in northern Bengal. So I mean, so if you are a turtle, so always think that means as a student, always try and think that why turtle cell is like this. So South Asian box turtle, you can see that there are annual growth rings. You can figure out on the shell. That means every year when they get active, they come out from their overwintering, they come and they come out and eat and then go back again. So that means that suggests their age. So, and then you have the keel and then everything. So in the nature, as you know, I don't need to tell you, it's very familiar concept in the biology and ecology. The nature does not make anything without a reason. So whenever you next come across a turtle, always try and think, look it carefully and see that if you are that turtle, why you need to have a red eye, why you need to have a black shell, why you need to have a Nike-like mark on your cheek, like means, Assam roof turtle does. So all these things means, always ignite some kind of research interest in the researchers, biologists, academicians, and all of them. And that like suggests they're not only the habit and habitats, but also different kind of behaviors, and lots more about the reproductive ecology. Similarly, soft shell turtles, and so as I told you that they have much flattened shell, and their eyes are different. They can walk on their feet are really, really very strong. They can walk on land very far. They are like a specialized eater. So you there's a narrow-headed soft shell turtle you can see, which is top in the top corner. So that narrow-headed soft shell turtle, I mean, they are exclusively fish eaters. So that's how their head is. They can't eat anything beyond the fish. And when it comes to the fish, very small fish, fingerlings, and they just like bury in the sand, they ambush and things like that. And depending on that, you have a different cells and different heads, different body sizes and things. These turtles bite a lot. And generally, as I told you, omnivorous, they are in true sense omnivorous. And they can specialize in anything. I mean, in case if you try and keep them in captivity, they might start eating rice. So, so such things are very important for you to observe and read. Unfortunately, we don't have lots of time to go, one by one, but yes, I mean, in general. But they are aggressive when you try and compare them with the tortoises as well as other hard-shell turtles. But they are very fascinating species, and they live like again in the variety of habitats, but mostly in large rivers with sandy bottoms. So tortoises, as I told you, that mostly they are like kind of a land dwelling, and these 5 tortoises you have in the country. And Impressed tortoise, which is again, I mean, top right corner, is recently discovered from Arunachal Pradesh only last year. And other like 2 or other yes, one is species of them, which is again left top corner, Travancore tortoise, that is an endemic. So when I say endemic, that means they are found only in the country. So you have 3 species, one turtle, another tortoise, another soft shell turtle. So these 3 species are found only in South India, nowhere else. So in endemism, we have 3 species. Those are endemic to our country only. So sea turtles. So sea turtles are also very fascinating. And as a freshwater turtle biologist, I always try and learn more and more about sea turtles, that what they do. And I read like they're like, what they do and where they go and when they come back to nest. And, there's a cool papers published by our colleagues in the marine turtle conservation. Kati Shankar is one, and, other people are there. And they are kind of a symbol of the turtle conservation, not only this country, but around the world. So most of the people don't know that we have inland turtles, we have a freshwater turtles and stuff. People know that means, since they are big, they are very colorful, they go across the globe. So people think, and then there's like another very fascinating event, which is called Arivada. So Arivada means where like, thousands of nesting female return to some nesting island to nest, like means, they go to Risikolia in Orissa, say, for example. During the lockdown, you might have heard about like, different news and, social media posts where olive ridley turtle returned in 1,000 numbers, probably due to less disturbance in that area. So, I mean, these 5 species are really, really very fascinating, and they are kind of a, ambassador of the entire turtle conservation. But same time, we do have inland turtles, we do have freshwater non-marine chelonians. So we always try and connect. That means, if we can exchange some knowledge with them, they can help us with, since they are like much ahead than freshwater turtle conservation, not only in this country, but around the world, of course. So again, a little bit for the beginners. So we try and divide the entire turtle body into the different, parts. So when you see, I know that the screen is small, you can't see everything, but all the body, like we have a, body, and the human body has like, nose and eyes and everything is called. So, there also, so as I said, that means upper shell is called carapace, lower shell is called plastron. And then means, you have like, even in carapace, you have a different kind of, scutes. So that means, anything running. So you can see that different shapes and sizes. I'm not going to read everything here, but like everything does have. And then means, we as a biologist try and identify particular turtles. So most of the time you don't get a living turtle, or rather means, if you get a shell anywhere, so you'll try and this means, see the combination of those scutes, and you try and tell that which species this might, or this might have been. At the same time, the freshwater turtles, which you can see in the bottom. So they also have like different kind of like, bony plates and warts, as you can see, means, right above the head. So these kinds of things also means, they try and help us to identify and determine, that means, which species, sex, and, the behavior and everything. So, but unfortunately, most of the things has not been understood, and people have been still trying to learn and understand that why certain things are made in certain ways. So next time when you'll go, try and just like see a turtle, try and see that what you can see differently, and probably try and report Raju on that. When you see the head, so then they have a different head pattern. Excuse me. And again, I mean, we all believe as a scientist that heads are different, since species are like living differently in the different places. And then you need to have different head, probably with different marking, uh, maybe to attract the mate, maybe to, just like try and ambush the fish, or try and catch certain prey, so it could be anything. But again, Assam roof turtle, you can see there's an inverted Nike mark, and a three-striped roof turtle, and then you can see spotted pond turtle, very beautiful turtle. So you as a student and scientist or researcher, you should definitely ask the question that why this kind of spots are there. Why, I mean, three-striped, they are not like a spotted pond turtle does not look like three-striped roof turtle, or why India roof turtle does not look like Assam roof turtle. That is diversity. But what is the advantage of that? As I said, that means definitely there is some kind of advantage which we don't understand. Do they mimic like a fruit in the river ecosystem? Do they like, since means as you know, in the plant world, I mean, if you try and mimic anything, if you try and show a color, so that means you are investing a great deal of energy in that, and maintaining it throughout your life is like something very hard thing. And since everyone wants to conserve the energy, so in that situation, it is definitely indicating something, and particular species has a definite benefit of like, showing such colors, besides the, I mean, the best mate in the situation. So, so such things are very important, and they are poorly understood in the world of turtles. So another question which we are generally asked, that why to save turtles? I mean, like, what if turtles are not there? So this is a very, I mean, important slide for you to understand. That means, so turtles are important biomass. So since we try and connect everything with the economy, with the, incentives and the benefits. So when I say the biomass, that means that after the fish, so you have like, that means that they are about like 877 kilogram per hectare, I would say. That was, I mean, Congdon first described that the biomass importance of turtles. And that's what he found, that radius sliders, about 2,200 individuals were there in the particular area. And so that means that the lots of biomass, which means that means they play very, very important role in the food chain of that particular place. And the so, and if they are not there, so entire biomass is gone. So sometimes they work as a prey, sometimes they work as a predator. Ecological services, so there are so many ecological services, I mean, from nutrient cycling to, burrowing, to seed dispersal, to everything, like means so many other species. But turtles travel great deal of distances, and they can just like, disperse anything they want. They can churn the entire thing. They help great deal with the nutrient cycle, and they are perfect ecological indicators. Why? So, I mean, their sex are determined by the temperature on which they are incubated. I mean, the eggs are incubated. And then they not only, most of the time, they just don't not only use the water, but also use a little bit land. And the land turtles, same way, use a little bit of the water. So they are kind of a like very good connect between these two ecosystem, and probably the fragile ecotone these two ecosystem shares. So, I mean, climate change and other things, those have like, other mammals, you can take like generations to determine that what kind of impact this, like, from probably from the nesting and and the sex you are producing in your incubation centers and hatcheries. You can tell a lot about that, and you can probably predict that how river population of not only this species, but other species, how going to look like maybe in 10 or 20 years. And turtles are deep rooted in religious and cultures. I don't need to tell you that turtles are associated with the human for the last 4,000 years. They have been around for 220 million years, and possibly the most ancient reptile which have walked this earth. So, and I can't just get over with this fact that they were here for like, I mean, we know them for 4,000 years, and they were here much more before than we existed. And eventually, I mean, lots of people find turtles very cute and harmless, like crocodiles and, you know, snakes and things. So, I mean, they must be saved. Next time when you get a chance, come across a turtle, probably look that turtle face carefully. You will know what I am saying here. So that's, I mean, all these things. And then, and these things are like kind of a human made. I personally don't trust that, means, you know, these lists. There are so many other things you don't know, and you know, which nature is not going to tell you why turtles existed for so many years on this earth. So the best thing is to preserve the earth diversity, and especially turtles, when you have a chance to. So sex determination, a very quick, this thing that means, you know, so we have male and we have females, of course, and then males generally, they have the concave plastron. That means, you know, they have the kind of a bowl-like plastron, which can easily fit on a female on the top of it. And then also male have a long tail, as you can see in this photo, left one, and then female has a, but in the terms of size, I mean, that's another very good research questions for all the professors listening me here, and researchers and students, of course, that I mean, here male is shown bigger, but that's not always correct or true in other species. So in like in hard-shell turtles, generally you will see that males are smaller, much smaller, sometimes 1/3 to a female. So when you see when you go and see Turtle Survival Alliance Facebook page, you will see lots of, like, you know, such interesting photographs where we try and compare that why this. And then again, I mean, what is the advantage? What is the ecological advantage of that? So in certain cases, females are bigger, in certain cases, males are bigger, but in certain cases, males are much smaller than the females. So what is, like, you know, and so there's definitely a research question that why it is happening. And that is like kind of a research opportunity right there. I mean, someone wants to answer that. So let me a little bit talk about the issues right now, what turtles are facing, and especially Indian turtles are facing. So, and it's not only in India, but when you see that most of the time, I mean, why you see turtles, I mean, so we always analyze that why we see turtles in the news, and 95% of the time we find that since turtles are in the trade, that's why, I mean, so that emerged in electronic medium, print media, and other places. And so that is the biggest threat currently turtles are facing. And I take this opportunity to also share that TSA, Turtle Survival Alliance, the organization I work for, that existed just due to the trade. Since Asian turtle crisis was like so bad, so Nature Conservation Union, which is also known as ICN, they thought it would be probably a good idea to set up an independent task force which start try and see in the issue and probably try and help with some solution with the active conservation program. So that's how just TSA came in the picture way back in 2001. But a little bit about the trade. So why trade? I mean, that's the biggest issue. So as I said, that means, you know, most of the time you hear or see turtles in the media. Why? It was in the trade. So why people trade turtles? And so if trade is legal. So most of the countries, including India, so turtle trade is illegal. So turtles are not fish. बहुत लोग मछली कछुआ बुलाते हैं, but it's not that this thing. So they should not be associated with the fish. And turtle is like entirely a wild species, and most of the countries don't allow, at least legally don't allow, to harvest turtles. So, and three main reasons why turtles are harvested from the wild. One is medicine and delicacy. So again, you can see there's a bottom image. So that is like kind of a outer cartilaginous rim extracted from soft shell turtle, later dried or rather boiled and dried and sold as the buffalo horn. So we do this in the Ganga and Brahmaputra system. As we means Indian, and then means we'll try and send it to Bangladesh. From Bangladesh, that goes to Southeast Asian countries. So, and then there, I don't need to tell you that means so they eat everything, and then so that's part of their delicacy, traditional Chinese medicine system. So TCM is like, it's like rhino horn, it's like tiger claw and things like that. And again, I mean, the main reason of turtle shell or turtle meat in the medicine is just like aphrodisiac. The food trade, again, I mean, the second photo, you can see there's a truckload of turtles. They are confiscated somewhere in eastern part of the country. So they are just going there to be sold in the market. Even like means, they are in the legal framework, they afford the maximum protection. And but still, I mean, there are some markets are functional. Lots of organizations are trying hard, and individuals, of course, trying hard to shut those markets. But I mean, still there's market, and then Indians also eat those turtles. And then pet trade that emerged like in last 10 years. That like means everyone, or at least most of the Southeast Asian people, wants to keep turtles as a pet. And not only Southeast Asia, but also means in India, if you go and try and see a large aquarium carefully, so you might find one or two turtles. Generally, people try and, I mean, if you ask them why you keep turtles, they say that it's just like, they like to keep turtles. And pet trade is like really, really bad. I know that means, just like being associated with some animal is always good. Most of you have dogs at home. We have dogs here in the office where I'm sitting right now. So we all love animals, which is good. But if you start harvesting wild animals from the wild, where they are doing lots of ecological services, which you don't understand, keep them home, and you are going to encourage other people. As I said, they look cute. You are going to encourage other people and more people to keep turtles, and there are more and more illegal demands. So, so the pet trade, and as per like traffic's estimate last year, they about like 110,000 turtles. That means 10,000 turtles every year enter in the trade, and mostly in the pet trade. So this is like what, I mean, like, what we know that, okay, pet trade is generally people think, oh, pet trade is fine. I mean, there's a couple of animals and some animals or something, but yes, no, pet trade is really, really serious. And for the last 10 years, pet trade really, really decimated some documented population of turtles, especially the area where I'm sitting right now, Ganges Plain. So this is another map just to give an idea. This is just data we summarized from 10 to 15. So you see that means Ganga Brahmaputra plain is like for large scale confiscation. So when I say large scale confiscation, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 is like very easy. You can see that means there's a like kind of a symbols we made like more than 3,000 in certain cases. But that does not mean that northeastern India does not have that kind of trade. So they have the issues with the detection, one, or they are most kind of a vulnerable areas where you have the kind of like, so you receive most of the turtles. So you are on receiving end and we are on supply end. So, and this is just detected cases. So when I say detected cases, we believe that like it's just less than 5% of the total trade, which I mean, like, which, and 95% consignment go without any detection. So this is just like 5%. So this is just tip of iceberg. So, situation is really, really bad. And I personally believe as a turtle biologist that means in the country, if you try and resolve this problem, so at least 90%, if not 100%, issues with turtle conservation are taken care of. So generally people just like use different modes to take turtles. They generally take, I mean, within the country, they use, every year they change the strategy. Sometimes they use trains, sometimes they use nice cars, but there are also air routes. They try and take the turtles out from the country. And I mean, you might have this question, or probably you might ask later, that why? I mean, like, you know, since there are lots of like surveillance and lots of checkings on the airport, but we also don't know the reason. Probably it's like, means, you know, I mean, there could be different reason, combination of reason. It's not just like, you know, the detection problem, but maybe lots of problem associated with the corruption as well. So yeah, I mean, like, you know, so they use different modes, and generally winters is the time when they take, since probably the protein demand is high everywhere, like the chicken demand, like the fish demand. So winter time is like really crucial when such consignments means, you know, start from the origin and try and reach destination. And as well as that means, you know, turtles don't, I mean, don't need to eat a lot. And in case if they are dead, they are not going to stink for a few days in winters when you compare like transiting turtles during summers. So such like, but from October to March is like when we think is the crucial period when probably people try and take turtles from the wild and feed the markets everywhere, not only within the country, but outside of the country as well. There's some press just to give you an idea. That means, you know, just like what is happening. 1,000 turtles. I don't need to tell you that. That means they are being captured. And I'm like kind of, for some time, I get very disappointed. That means, you know, we raise turtles in the captivity. We invest lots of like scientific resource, human resource, resources, I mean, financial resources from international, national agencies. But these guys can just like harvest 1,000 turtles or 2,000 turtles every year without any, I mean, without much effort. So, you know, so the gap of conservation and, you know, threat is really, really huge. So, I mean, I just wanted to make this point very clear to all of you. Another problem is that means, you know, so what as a turtle, if you think you are a turtle, what you need, you know, to survive in a particular habitat. So if you are a river turtle, you need like some nice sandbanks, you need braided stream, you need riverine islands, lots of rapids, deep pools, riparian vegetation, of course, to eat, and uninterrupted all seasonal water flow. That is very important. Mosaic of open and closed water bodies with macrophytes and, you know, everything. So that means that it's very complicated system they live. That does not mean that they live in the canal or a very, you know, plain system which just has water. So that, and then that makes the entire ecosystem. So when I say the entire ecosystem, so all these things, and again, this list is not exhaustive. List could be something else. So do we have all these things? And when you come to the forest turtles, I mean, the situation is worst. You have, I don't need to tell you about the forest fragmentation, and there are certain things. I mean, we have a turtle species in South America, Dall's turtle, and that is like, means, you know, the entire turtle population has been kind of fragmented into different mosaics since the forest has been cut. So when forest has been cut, okay, there is some forest left, but there is low genetic connectivity between those forests. And when it comes to the river, so these are the problems. So we think about a sandbank, I mean, in Ganga or in Chambal, I mean, they are highly degraded. Lots of sand being collected. And, you know, so people don't think about turtles, you know why. I mean, I don't need to tell you about all the development, competition and, you know, everything. When you come to the water, there are lots of dams everywhere. I don't recall or seen any river which does not have a dam which let all the water go in the natural manner. So when you don't have the water in natural manner in the river, that means you are not going to form the new sandbanks. That means you are going to alter the water depth. That means you are going to alter temperature. That means you are going to silt the entire river system if there is more rain coming from other places, but there's actually water is not coming in the natural flow and you know, speed. So that is not going to flush the entire system and maintain the deep pools. So, the hydro projects, hydroelectric projects, the dams, the rivers, I mean, like everything is like kind of, and then here I'm not talking about pollution. So I'll let you decide. That means what pollution is making impact, which we don't know actually, to tell you, there are lots of studies, but some, I mean, major of our rivers, I mean, like say for example, Yamuna, I know, knowing that the big government programs like Namami Gange and other programs, they are definitely trying to look into the problem, but the problem is so very acute and so worse that we are still nowhere, and we need years and years to come to, to recover the entire health of the entire ecosystem. And habitat alteration does not limit to this list. As I said, that means there are other problems as well. There you have more exotic species are coming in turtles. I mean, you have radial sliders. So there's another species which people sells as a pet, and then they, pet owners, they not able to keep them for a long period of time, so they release them back in the natural ecosystem. And they start infesting that. I mean, they are very hard and they are very like kind of a resilient species, and they can try and take over. Say, for example, there's a Sukna Lake in Punjab. So that's that's infested by radius sliders and other ecosystems as well. And not only that, you have other human subsidized predators and exotic species like tilapia fish, which you don't know that which kind of impact they are creating to turtle habitats, and which kind of toxic inflow they are bringing from other systems, and which is going into still unimpacted systems. So, habitat alteration, if I try and just like keep in one slide or one go, it's very hard for me to comprise and talk about everything. So maybe like different other things you have to include here. You have to just like think more that as a turtle, what kind of habitat you need. So, so it's not just like, a canal of water you need like lots more than that. So, and that this is like kind of a very ideal situation. That means very few river of the country are able to provide all these characteristic or habitat characteristics to their native turtle populations. So challenges are really huge. So impact, I mean, you might like ask that, so what? I mean, like, okay, it's all happening, sand is being collected, so what? So there's like a couple of examples I must tell you here. So there's a species called Northern River terrapin, which is only in the mangroves of Eastern India, Sundarban to be very precise. So you have less than 15 individuals left. When I say individuals, that means literally 15 individuals left. And so that's really, bad situation. You have 500 red crown roof turtle. If you recall the very first photo I showed, so for 500 red crown roof turtle and even less. That means, and that's just in one population, less than 700 kilometers of river system. So that means all your eggs in one basket. If that is gone, everything is gone. And then you have 4 soft-shelled turtles called Nilsonia, and some of you might have seen them in some of the temple ponds of northeastern India. And 2 of them are critically endangered, and 2 of them just entered the endangered list. And as per of our meeting in 2017, when we had National Strategic Planning meeting, 29 species, which I showed you the list and photos, 17 of them are severely threatened. And 5 years back only, or 6 years back, 14 of them were endangered. That means in 7 years, there are 3 more or 4 more species entered that list. In certain stretches of Bihar and Bengal, of course, no functional population of large soft shells. And this is like just example for you to help visualize that means how this is this illegal turtle trade is and habitat alteration is like kind of putting turtles at risk every day. So while we are talking here, while we are doing webinar, there might be like some populations are being wiped out. from the river ecosystem, So it's like, that kind of urgency is there to try and think something about turtle conservation in the country. So how we do that? So for our audience, just to give you an idea, that means, as a conservationist, since Raju requested for this, so to give you an idea that how we decide that what work we are going to do and who tells us. So as we told you, that means we definitely identify the problem, and then on the basis of that, we always do a national meetings, international meetings, regional meetings, and let our conservation actions are guided by them. So most of the time, they are essentially guided by the regional, global, and national meetings. So last one we had in Delhi in 2017. And from the recommendation come from the different organizations and individuals. We try and just like prioritize, since we don't have lots of money to protect all the river systems and the wetlands and the forest areas and everything grasslands. So we prioritize that where is the urgency, and as part of that means we'll try and act. So it's not only TSA, but I'm talking about other organizations, Wildlife Institute of India, WWF, WCS, and Government of India Namami Gange program, and a number of other organizations, individuals like Raju, Jaditya in Northeastern India, and so everyone. So and then so these 4 or 5 things means this is how we approach the conservation. So as I told you, that illegal turtle trade control is the most important area which emerged from 2017 meeting. So that is one. Another thing is the conservation breeding. So some populations are really low, really decimated. There are issues with their their genetic diversity. Genetic diversity is even low. So we'll try and focus on the conservation breeding. So I will show you in a couple of slides in few minutes. And reintroduction with robust monitoring protocol. So when we try and reintroduce some of the turtle populations, the area where they were not before. So when you will see that, the Badagur I was showing you the less than 15 individuals. So in 2016, we released 10 with the transmitters, but unfortunately, we did not find them. We are going to put another 10 satellite transmitter. We're going to release them again end of this year. So the eventual goal of not keeping them in the captivity for the after conservation breeding, but return them to the wild so they can just like resume the ecological services and contribute to the entire food chain. And that is even, it sounds very easy. That means we breed turtles, put them back, that's all, but it's not. Most of them does not have that kind of muscle. So you have to just like try and test some kind of soft release strategy, like we have been doing in Myanmar with the Burmese tortoise. And when you compare the survival rate, they are like pretty low, since you don't understand the recruitment in the wild, and dispersal. Since they are not like very well equipped to survive in the wild area, so probably they are not going to. Person has lots of such issues which we try and adjust and refine and learn, make mistakes, go back again, collect important data, and definitely, and then more scientific studies, as I have been happened. So we definitely need lots more scientific studies and to cover the gray area, so to inform the conservation action. Community outreach, we have like so many people, as I showed you a map. So it's kind of like conserving turtles in the, one of the most human dominated landscape on the earth. So Ganga and Brahmaputra plain both are like, I think we have 800 people per square kilometer or something like that, or per mile, if not a square kilometer. So, so in that situation, and you'll have to recover the population. So the community outreach is definitely a tool which we definitely try and always bring in our conservation program. And landscape planning, since resources are so limited, so most of the time we don't have that kind of liberty to do the landscape level planning and protect the entire habitat in the river. So in that case, and then you try and protect a smaller population. So your vision is different. So there are some other non-source threats are coming from different places, and you're trying to protect one localized population. So, so such things are definitely challenged, but we always try and adjust our conservation actions. And on the basis of that, we'll take the action every year and then review them. So some of our program, just like for you to give you an idea that, so this is most endangered turtle of the country. We call it Northern River Terrapin, Batagur Pasca. And as I told you, so we have less than 13 individuals, which we discovered in 2008. We have been breeding them. Now we have about 370 plus individuals with us. And we have been doing lots of AVR testing and lots of equipments with them. We are going to put them, lots of genetic studies are happening. And Sundarban Tiger Reserve, I must mention one of our government partner, which is Sundarban Tiger Reserve here. They are kind of like, leading the project with us and more like proactive way than any non-government organization can do. So they are doing very good job. And, so we are trying to protect this species. Very soon you will hear a news that 10 animals are going to go back with like satellite transmitter from this breeding program. And this is just limited to a conservation breeding center, not beyond it. So we believe that ecologically they are extinct, and very few individuals are left in the wild. So we are side by side looking for more individuals to see if they can be integrated in our conservation program, so we can increase the genetic diversity. And probably since it's like two less individuals, it's not always a good idea to inbreed them and put them back. So so the eventual goal is to putting 1,000 animals back with maximum diversity to start seeing that if like that pilot conservation program is successful. The project has different cycles. Sorry, this slide got shifted a little bit up. So or down. So so as I said that, so we identify the problem, we develop lots of consensus among the partners. We do the permitting exercise. Resource acquisition means essentially money and where you're going to live. Baseline data information, since turtles always live in the water, there's no record, no documentation. Sometimes there's some documentation. So on the basis of that, you develop your baseline information. If there's no baseline information, you have to collect that. Then you try and implement conservation intervention. Sorry, you evaluate that, and then you submit a report. And after that, you decide that if you want to expand that, if you want to replicate that in other areas, or exit in case it is failed, or government partners or someone else want to take it up. So this kind of a very intricate process, very elaborate process. It's not just like you go in the field and try and protect everything without knowing that what you are doing. So yeah. So the second project, let me come back again. You recall that Batagur Basca I talked. So we have a very active project in northeastern India, and which is based in Biswanath Ghat, right opposite to and so we are trying to have for black soft-shell turtle. Photo left, you can see this is from our project in Dimapur Zoo. We are trying to do conservation breeding with the Asian brown tortoise, since most of them again got wiped out from the wilderness, and the eventual goal is putting some back in the wild and see how they do in the, at least in the community conservation area. And then on the basis of that information, probably will be putting more. So participatory turtle conservation project in Tarai. So Tarai, when I say that, is again along the Himalayas here in Uttar Pradesh. So lots of like means, just to learn that how population does. A very small river we are trying to protect, and we do lots of radio telemetry and all of that. But the main crux of this project is to catch as many as turtles we can, measure them, put them back precisely from where they were captured. So essentially to understand, since if you try and catch like 2,000 turtle, of course, with all the valid permissions and standard protocols, they can tell you a lot about the biology and behavior and all of that. So that is our like kind of a long-term project with that. Then other project that is essentially a captive conservation project, which is we are at Kukral. There we are trying to breed some endangered species. We have a laboratory of aquatic biology, which is kind of a try and investigate the temperature, sex determination, other things. I mean, like incubation related issues, and also educate people. So it's kind of a little turtle zoo, which we run in association with the Endangered Project of Uttar Pradesh Forest Department. So they have been our amazing partner in this, and they have really expanded their ambit from gharials to turtles. As you have seen this photo again, I mean, this is my, another photo. So that's very, very important species, as I said, and my personal favorite. I did my PhD on this, as Raju told you. So this species, as I told you, that only we have less than 500 adults are surviving. So our major focus is like nest protection. So whatever vulnerable nest will try and compete with the jackals, Indian golden jackals, of course. I mean, I know that they have been there, and turtle eggs are their food, and but we have to actually compete and try and save every single nest, or rather every single eggs, and in our incubation hatchery, and probably try and put them back with a very specific marking and tags, so we can just like go look for them again and see how many of them survived, how many of them, like how far they dispersed from the release site and all of that. This project also has very strong focus in the community as well, to recover some of the key nesting sites. So what else we can do? Sorry, another 5 to 10 minutes. I know I'm overshooting time, but another 5 to 10 minutes. So thrust areas, what else we can do? So one is, like as I told you, that we need much bigger scientific rescue and rehabilitation, everything, strategy, infrastructure, and everything. Since the number of turtles we are catching here from, or rather intercepting from, the illegal trade network, we need like that kind of scientific rescue and rehabilitation protocol to put the animals back properly in the ecosystem they really, really belong. Okay. Otherwise, we are just like it's catching and putting turtles and feeling good about them, but you don't know which ecosystem they belong, and how to put them, when to put them, if they are entirely disease free or not. So we have been, so we just like kind of we broke the ground, but we need to go a really long way. And I personally give myself a kind of target for in the next 10 years, I'll have to strengthen this area really, kind of a high. Ecological integrity, another challenging thing which we'll have to, so try and understand the ecological integrity. As I told you, that the complex ecosystem turtles live. So not only turtles, but tortoises also. Sorry, I did not have a photo. I could have put a tortoise photo as well here, but it's very challenging things. And you have to ensure that ecological integrity and the habitat integrity you have to protect, rather than just the species or a population, since they are not going to be localized. And lots of infrastructure and the scientific understanding is needed to do that. Lots of research areas and lots of young people, I'm sure, listening this conversation. So, survival, dispersal, soft release, genetics, biology, behavior, and so on and so forth. And you have 29 species, you have different behavior, you have different ecosystem, different rivers, so everything. And so you try and just like be as part of turtle conservation, and try and see how you contribute as part of your academics, as part of your research, as part of your education, or whatever it is. So turtles are really, really good biological model if you want to be a biologist, or if you're already a biologist, to start considering that, means how you can contribute. So, so there are lots of scope and ample amount of opportunity, and lots of international individuals, organizations, and of course network is there to support you. So I definitely encourage all of you to get some of that done. There's another area is that you might have seen, being in northeastern India, there is lots of religious sentiments about turtles. So, and not only northeastern India, but other parts of the country as well. So we'll have to harvest that at some point. When I say harvest, let me substitute it with the utilize, since that is something very good, but we'll have to just expand that and probably try and bring some more science and see if we can utilize such populations, such sentiments for turtle conservation beyond what is doing now. So it's more like recovering the populations in the wild. Citizen science. So this recently we started citizen science, since we are a handful of scientists and handful of people interested in turtle conservation. We like turtles. We want to conserve turtles, but how? Like, such a big landscape and country and different areas. As you have seen, that means so there are 5 different ecological regions. So we started something like citizen science. We just like put together a kind of a very preliminary application called Kurma. So Kurma is a Sanskrit name for turtles, and Kurma is like digital platform now just to promote awareness and increase conservation range for all turtles. So essentially here you can see if you're not able to identify what turtles you are seeing, you can report turtles. You can get in touch with lots of experts in your area, including Raju, Jayaditya, all of us here. So it's kind of a bringing everyone on the same platform. So, we have more eyes and ears are in the field. So it's not just like a couple of people doing some conservation research and others are not aware. So, and bird group already successfully has done it. So we kind of are trying to replicate that idea and see how far we can go if we know more. So yeah, I mean, like if you guys have any chance, and if you have an Android phone, right now it is for Android phone. So if you have any chance, please try and download it. It's very simple link here. If you just like go in the Play Store, say Kurma, so probably you'll get a chance to download that and report a turtle from your area. Don't hold or kind of a trap or anything, but like whenever you happen to come across any turtle species, so please try and report it. So we all are kind of connected there, and then you will see that means so that would be kind of a bigger force for turtle conservation in the country, which I mean I personally want to see in like next 2 to 3 years. And when you post lots of photos, probably artificial intelligence is going to kick in, and your phone is start identifying what turtles you are seeing. So yeah, I mean, what else you can do? So I mean, again, I mean, they are kind of a very indirect goals, but I again keep that indirect goals for Indian turtles as well as Asian turtles. So raising profile of turtles and their status. So people, I mean, everyone, all the stakeholders, especially governments and intergovernmental agencies, should give full attention to turtles as wildlife. And definitely means lots of turtles are not listed in legal framework. They should be definitely there, not only in part of the India, but also as part of the CITES, international treaties and all of that. As I said, ecosystem level approach are very important. So when you try and protect the maybe 100-kilometer of river section, all the turtles going to be there inside, going to be protected anyway. And last but not least is keep common species common. So as you have been seeing lots of my slides where we are trying to do a lot of things. So, so when you come back to that and you see that means, what we did and what we are trying to recover, and will we be really, able to recover everything, the damage we did? So sometime answer is yes, but sometime no. So, but the best thing is that means keep common species common, not only in turtles, but wherever you see them. So nothing is least concern for me. So next time when you get out of this webinar, so whenever people tell you, no, this is least common species, always educate them that, look, nothing is least common. Someday it's going to be endangered and you are going to end up putting millions of rupees to recover it, and it's not going to come. Okay. So it's very important thing. So here's my email ID. In the end, you can see this wonderful presentation. I mean, these guys, my team, they put together since I was like little busy with things. So I kind of, so they just like put everything together, and this is my email ID. Anytime if you have a question, we are going to definitely take some question here. So I invite Raju to ask questions so I can